Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Horror on the Orient Express. It's available from Chaosium. I'm the Keeper of the Secrets, and this is episode 22. Our recap will be given by Keith Craig as his character, Gunter Block. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Keith?
Thanks, Tom. Compose my thoughts before I go to bed. Strange being in the writing down what happened in the dreamlands before I go to sleep again. We continued on our investigation of the murder of Prince Nimbus. We heard the scream of Madame Bonneval and went rushing to her cabin. We found the door locked, but Theodore quickly broke open the door, and to our horror, inside was a hideous creature made out of amethyst. It was human-sized, but had crab-like eyes and pincers. It had Madame Bonneval trapped, and we tried to assist. Dr. Gabriel grabbed a crowbar and hit it, and I unsuccessfully looked around for a table to try and push it away from her. Henri showed up and was able to ask Mimi to quickly subdue the creature. The tentacles came out and grabbed it. Even though the shards of amethyst were piercing the tentacles of Mimi, she did not seem to mind. Madame Bonneval then started laughing when the creature grabbed the heart-shaped box that she had. And when he opened it up, there was no ruby inside. Apparently, this is the ruby from the story that the dark sorcerer had been seeking. Madame Bonneval was oddly thrilled at the failure of the dark sorcerer's creature in the attempt to get the ruby, even though we tried to say that her game had cost the life of Prince Nimbus. She did not care because of her pain from losing her daughter to the dark sorcerer. Any time she could torture him was worth it, no matter what the collateral damage. The creature was unable to speak to us, but through Pigeon, we were able to somewhat figure out what it was doing. Its body had killed Prince Nimbus, but it had been ensnared by the dark sorcerer, and so it killed Prince Nimbus, not of its own accord. We decided to put the creature into a prison similar to the Madman on the train, and then we thought we should get all the passengers together and let them know that the murderer was found. It was at this time that we noticed that Miranmar was nowhere around. We went back to the creature's cage, and Miranmar was in there, back to his normal look. Apparently, the amethyst creature is his normal look, but he looks more like a human when he's around us. He said that he was being possessed by the dark sorcerer, and that he doesn't know when it could take him again. When all things calmed down, next thing I knew, I was awake on the Orient Express as we were arriving in Milan. Getting out at the station, I was quite surprised to see that the station had large piles of rubble stacked up. Asking around, we found it was due to the fascist Il Duce's new policy of trying to improve the train stations to help the trains run on time. We'll see how that works out for him. We were quite glad to see that Catalina had arranged our hotel rooms for us. However, we quickly ascertained that she had gone missing approximately 2 days ago. We went to the opera house where she was set to perform. She had reserved us seats, actually quite wonderful seats, third row center, but no one had seen her. Once we were able to show that we had known her and were friends, we were able to get an address to her house, and when we went there, we were greeted by her housekeeper. Housekeeper informed us of what had occurred. Apparently, Catalina was exiting the train with her companion Ricardo, and she went and over to a Alfa Romeo car and got in. We called Ricardo, and he said that he saw her talk with someone in the black vehicle, which but he did not see who it was. Sadly, a black Alfa Romeo is not a unique car in Milan. In the evening paper, we found another article talking about an automobile worker who was killed. He was a union organizer. At first, I would have just written this off as typical labor strife, but it seems like since we've got involved in this foul business, there aren't any coincidences anymore. I had the most wonderful night's sleep, but some of my companions said that they awoke in the night and they heard a soprano singer singing away in the alleyway, and that they swore it sounded like Katerina. They went out to find her while Dorian and I enjoyed a restful night's sleep. They went out into the plaza, and other people were hearing her too. They approached a wall when her voice stopped. Whoa, Catalina, where are you?
So we'll take it from that exact moment. You're all standing outside. The last echoes of what sounded like Caterina Cavallaro echo around. There's other people out there too. People have been looking for her. People were in distress. Where is she? Causes quite a stir.
So everyone else heard it too? It wasn't just us?
Correct. I mean, not everyone, but people who were awakened. Yeah. They've come outside too, some of them in their night clothes.
When the singing stopped, did it stop at the end of a phrase or more abruptly? Did it sound interrupted?
It stopped at the end of a phrase. She was, in fact, singing Ritorno Vincitore from Aida, the same piece that she sang for you on the train. So you're familiar with it.
Nevertheless, if she is singing on the street and missing in the middle of the night, there must be some urgency. How do we get around this wall?
How tall is it?
It's about 10 feet high. There's like no really way to scale it, but there's probably other alleys or something might get past it.
Well, I'm a very small man. If somebody could lift me up.
Sure, I can do that. I'm relatively strong and help lift you up. I think we were together too.
Okay. Do a dex roll just to see if you guys make it without hurting each other.
46 is a pass.
And here we go. A 48 is a pass.
All right. So you managed to hoist Dr. Neruda up. Dr. Neruda, as you get to the top and you can see over into and it's basically another alley with buildings very similar, going off into the distance. You notice a number of people that are coming and going. A few people have come into the alley themselves and started to walk down towards the wall. They probably heard the voice as well.
I have a quick question, if I may, if I'm going to interrupt, Tom. Aren't we still inside that cross-shaped like arcade building? The Galleria? Yeah. We're still inside that, right? So there can't be that long of a distance for the vision, right? Because we're still technically indoors. There's just that roof and we're in faux alleys, right? Or am I thinking wrong?
There are alleys, I believe, that lead to the outside.
Okay, so just like that entrance that's near the chapel and that large courtyard in front of the chapel, there are other entrances for the other.
Yes. Yeah,
okay, so it can extend and go out beyond.
The ends of the cross are wide open. It's
okay.
It's really considered a covered market as opposed to being inside.
I guess in my mind, I was thinking that there was maybe one or two, but everything else is like closed off or something. Yeah. And so, okay.
No, it's right at the heart of the city. So,
okay. Apologies.
So you don't see, I mean, you see people. You certainly don't see Caterina Cavallaro standing there taking applause.
I'll ask somebody while I'm over the wall. You heard it too, didn't you?
Yes, where is she? They yell. Oh, do you speak Italian? Como?
I speak Spanish, which shares quite a lot of vocabulary.
Somebody who speaks Spanish probably responds, and they say, we heard, but we don't see. By this time, there are probably a number of gendarmes or police that are moving into the area, maybe even a couple of black shirts wanting to see what's going on. They tell everybody to go back to bed. Go back to bed, people. You shouldn't be on the streets in the middle of the night. They genuinely seem like they're just trying to keep the peace.
Neruda, do you see a way across from up there?
You can see that if you left the Galleria and came around the side, you'd probably find the alleyway back there.
Yeah,
too.
we would have to leave the Galleria to get around, but the
wall.
The fascists are on the scene.
Yeah. And no sign of her at all.
No, it's like a phantom. She's vanished.
Could she have been singing at a window or something?
There are quite a few windows.
She could be.
Do a spot hidden for me, Dr. Neruda.
24 is a hard success.
You do notice one thing. It at that moment, it doesn't really register. It's not surprising to you. But it did look like there was a rather large rat, or maybe a possum, scurrying down the alleyway.
That's
Here. Doesn't seem so unusual that in a city you'd find rats.
Right, but that's fairly large, though.
Yeah.
But
is there while this is going on, I'll try to make my way around to the left or to the right to get up to where Dr. Neruda is. Okay.
Well, like I said, it's like a 10-foot wall. So you've hoisted him up to let him see over.
Okay. So I was just sort of looking for is there a staircase? Is there some way to get up there?
Maybe there's a fire escape on the side building that you might be able to get up and look over the wall.
Okay.
If you do that, that's fine. You don't see much. And by the time you've done that, people are starting to disperse. And the gendarmes will say, go to bed. Nothing's happened. People tell them, but they don't believe. They didn't hear it. They didn't see it. People seem very disappointed as they go back to their rooms.
Yeah.
No, we can't all have had just the same hallucination.
No, it was distinct enough to get me out of bed and downstairs. Yeah.
Might it have been a good quality recording?
No.
I have never, if they have this technology, I have not yet heard it.
It was so clear, Theodore.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a connoisseur of the opera. I've listened to her recordings numerous times, but that sounded like she did live on the train.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just trying to think if she's being held captive, the chances of her captors letting her sing is highly unlikely.
She finished the song, Theodore. She finished the phrase. She wasn't choked off.
No, exactly.
Like she reached a natural conclusion. It's
like
you're saying that she is that she's not being held against her will. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, it would seem if she was being held against her will that her captors wouldn't let her sing out, giving her position away. That's a great risk that the captors would take. And then secondly, she sounded so calm and natural. If someone was kidnapped, they'd be scared, and you'd hear that in their voice. They wouldn't be singing there would be nervous sounds, tension in their voice. So it sounds, that's why I was thinking a recording, because it sounded so good.
Theodore, we've encountered plenty of strange things already in our journey.
Yeah.
Realities overlap.
Theodore's observation, though, does sort of ring true. That was not a woman singing in distress. She was clear and beautiful, the sound of her voice.
It might so be that she was singing because she wished to be identified.
And I'm assuming that everyone's come back because Dr. York stayed at that balcony and he was going to try and keep a bird's eye view, but never saw anything. And then everyone came back. And so Edison says, you're right, Gabriel, we have experienced so many strange and unusual things that I think it's even possible that this could be some kind of mimic that could be imitating Catalina.
Or she's in a situation where she's not fully aware of the circumstances, so to speak.
Yeah.
If she is in somewhere else, if she is in like that Duke's little puppet theater that we entered, for instance. Who knows? Who knows where she is? If she's fully in our reality.
Or aware of the
it's starting to sound crazy.
I mean, it was not very much earlier we were attempting to solve the murder of a royal cat, so the circumstances lead us to, I think, peculiar ideations. I'm, for one, and since she has vanished and the authorities are here, I'm going to try to get some sleep. Maybe we will be back on the train in 20 minutes. I don't know. I mean, that train, not this train.
So, do you all return then?
All right, do.
You return.
Yes.
Gunter and Dorian are sound asleep, snoring away. Never woken up by the noise. The noise outside wasn't great, so except for the singing. So you all go to bed. The next morning, you are awakened by the pleasant smells in the hotel. They are serving a wonderful breakfast for the people who are in the hotel. And you head downstairs to discuss what you're going to do today.
Oh, wonderful night's sleep.
Well, you missed a little excitement.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, mysterious. Do you know, you have traveled a bit, Hemlock.
Yeah.
Are there possums in Italy?
Possums? The big rodent in America?
Yeah, with the tail and the funny eyes.
If let me look at my natural world. If there is, I have not heard of them. No.
I don't believe so. I stumble in. I seem to have my voice back, my fellow compatriots.
Oh.
You sound very good, Herr Dombrowski.
Oh, yes, I must have caught some kind of virus or something. I do not know. It has been a shame. I know the local language, but so I might be.
Dorian, do a listen roll, Dorian.
Do a listen. Okay.
As you're walking through the restaurant, joining them and sitting down.
That is a fail. I am too focused on that.
Okay.
He's doing little scales with his voice. It's so nice to hear himself. Dr. Neruda, could you describe again the rodent you saw over the wall?
It's just something about it seemed odd. I know it's a little strange to point out a rat in the city, but it was big.
My God.
Whatever it was.
No.
Hurry.
Also with the people around and lights. I mean, they like the shadow and.
Surely can't be a possum. Not a thing really around here.
What was it doing?
Dr. Neruda, do a knowledge roll.
4.
Nice.
Success.
So as I mentioned, there were other people coming around in that alley on the other side as well. You spoke to one of them. That rat was running along, between the wall and the, of the building side on the side. And as it ran by like an old man. And as it ran by the old man, you could see the rat in comparison to the size of the man's foot. And it was pretty big. It was cat-sized for a rat, which is why you thought of possum.
Yeah, possum sounds about right.
Just a cat-sized rodent of some sort.
That is odd.
Did you see where it went? Where it disappeared into the
It just seemed to be running down.
We could go look
towards the exit of the.
We could go looking for it, I suppose, but it's just these things that are out of place. That voice, her voice, and now this rat.
Yeah, ordinarily I'd think twice about it, but like you said earlier, Dr. Neruda, we have experienced some very strange things, and this might be worth looking into.
Indeed. But we could be, I don't know, trying to locate. This thing might be more of a wild goose chase, but there might be some form of trail. It must have left some trail of some kind.
A wild giant rat chase. Our only purpose, particularly in Milan, is the Sedefkar. But it does not seem a coincidence that we should meet this diva on the train and that she goes missing like this and then sings to us in the middle of the night.
There is some relation. Must be.
Yeah,
if my thoughts.
I was about to ask, Herr Doctor, trying to remind myself, the Sedefkar, the simulacrum. We need to remember that is paramount, and I have no doubt that there's some sort of nefarious tie between it and what has happened to Miss Cavallaro. Do we have, I'm trying to remember if we have any kind of leads that we should be following up on in Milan as far as the simulacrum is concerned, and if it might better suit our resources to divide out and some of us focus on the mystery surrounding Miss Cavallaro and some of us focus on the simulacrum.
Yes, we know that a piece of the simulacrum was sold to somebody who lived in Milan.
Yeah, that's it.
That was a long time ago. So,
and we suspect, I think it would be the right leg, but maybe not. We don't know what order they are in.
So no real design on which piece, but that there may have been a sale of some sort.
There is a woman. She looks like she's maybe in her late 50s. She's talking with friends at a table next to you. She suddenly turns and she gently says in Italian, she says, excuse me, you're talking about Caterina Cavallaro. Did you hear the song last night?
See,
so if Dorian's the only one who can understand her.
I'm fluent.
You
a little.
Yes, more water, please.
She She turns back for a moment and she hands you the newspaper.
Thank you.
She'll hand it to whoever, Dorian.
Yeah,
And on the front page, you see this.
What do we have here? Cavallaro's disappearance. Too many tragedies. Arturo Toscanini, music director of La Scala, announced to David Aida would open this evening with understudy Filomena Di Mattina appearing in the title role. Toscanini, in response to comments regarding the ghost voice of last night and other reputedly unnatural occurrences, said there's no substance to these stories. They are mere gossip and old wives' tales. Paolo Risconti, the props manager for the opera, told a different tale. We thought our troubles were over, he said, when the costumers first ended with the preparations for Ida, but now the bad luck has moved on to the set itself. People are being injured or falling ill, and props are disappearing. Where will this end? Tonight's performance is booked out, but the opera is scheduled over the next 4 weeks.
My goodness. Why many things are afoot here?
So did you hear it? She says.
Yes.
Yes, as
Right.
did we. We don't know what it means.
It's odd. Maybe some kind of warning or a sign that I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, have any of you think it was out by now? The book by LaRue, The Phantom of the Opera. It almost seems like
That's a good point.
That is a very good point.
Yeah, it's just coming to mind, seeing those large rats or that large rat, if it's going into some sort of sewer system, like maybe the Phantom of the Opera, I wonder if her voice echoed through something like that. I think we should look for maybe some sort of maybe sewer entrance where it's scurried off to. It's worth at least a look.
It is worth a look. And that is a big point.
This Toscanini fellow concerns me a little bit. He is the one who hosted the party where she failed to attend, right?
Yes.
Now, Dr. Neruda, you would know that Arturo Toscanini is a very, very famous director.
Conductor. Herr Dombrowski, my Italian is not as lovely as yours. Has the lady ever heard of this costumier's curse before?
She shrugs. She says, I have no idea what he means.
No. Maybe that is something we can look into, I guess. It might help some insight into...
What comes to my mind is that we are looking for something like an artificial limb, and we're better to hide something than in the props of the opera house, where they have heads and torsos and costumes and things.
That is very true. Hidden in plain sight. It is a good way to hide them.
Maybe this Paolo Risconti will talk to us, although I'm sure he's very busy with opening night. And we have tickets tonight that are very good seats.
Oh, yes.
We should watch out for falling actors.
Exactly. I feel like we should try and speak to some of them before the performance, because I don't really want to sit for a performance and it all go to shit.
But that would, if as unfortunate as that would be, Dorian, seeing it ourselves might give us a better sense of what exactly is going on.
True, but that's true. But is it worth a risk if someone could get severely injured? I don't know.
Well, also, their injury would occur regardless of whether we're in the seats or not.
That's true.
In fact, I'm quite skilled at in stagecraft and spotting.
Exactly. So I think, Gunther, if you could, maybe we go to you. We came up with something to look around, and maybe you could see something that others might not. If there is someone or something missing with the opera, like this phantom, we can maybe you can help figure it out. And the sewer system is not a bad idea. They usually run sewage tunnels run on the old main.
And I'm also a very capable tracker and hunter. I could probably follow things quite well.
Exactly. But I see where you are coming from, Gabriel, as well. But regardless, it will happen, and we should sit through the performance. I know, but
I'm sure the understudy also is very talented, but we wish to recover Tiva herself.
yes.
This Caballero is a rare talent. So do you think perhaps a few of us should see if this Paolo Risconti will talk, and a few of us will go on the Great Rat Chase?
Yes, and I think maybe me and Theodore shouldn't be together, considering we are the more native Italian speaker.
Yeah, I can speak Italian to the rats in the
Well,
sewer.
if Theodore wants to accompany me and look into this rat creature, and the four of you want to go see if anybody will talk to you at the opera house, I think that seems fair enough. I can't imagine that Theodore and I will be in much danger on the street.
I don't know how much help I could be at the opera house. I'm very keen on maybe going to the university and see if there's any records of this sale of the simulacrum. I'd like to try and do that research if possible.
Do you read Italian?
All the records may not all be in Italian, but there may be a research assistant that could help me.
That's true.
It's true. I don't feel comfortable with you going alone, but Dr. Young.
No, I have some Italian also, just not as much as these two. So perhaps I will go with you to the library.
And then me and Block go and see if we can infiltrate the place. Have a look around.
Now that we've split the party 3 ways, how about we all go somewhere by ourselves and split it 6 ways?
Yeah.
No way we can lose.
Okay, so let's see if I got this now. So Dorian and Gunter are going to go
To the opera house.
opera house. Neruda and Theo are looking for
The rat creature from last night.
Maybe
We are street walking. We are going around looking at stuff.
street walking.
That's a great way to find information, pick up rumors, you know.
And Roland and Ed are going to
University of Milan.
University. Okay. All right. So the restaurant that you're in is fairly busy this morning. Now that the woman next to you guys said something, Dorian, you can hear that quite a few people are talking about the events of last night. They heard the singing in the street, and people are both curious, a little upset, still very depressed because she's not going to be there. At least the newspapers say that she's going to be replaced. People are not happy about it. They're very much about the opera and about, fashion and stuff like that. And so this has upset the whole city. As you all get up to leave and you start moving towards the door, who goes out the door first? You can go out maybe 2 by 2.
Yeah. Looks like Dr. Hudson is.
I'll join.
Yeah, Dr. York.
So Dr. York and Dr. Theodore, you step out. Who
He's
next?
not a doctor. He works for a living.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't even work for a living.
Theodore and Dr. York. Yeah, you go out first. Who next?
Oh, I'll go.
Me and Gunther.
Okay, Dorian and Gunter, and then Gabriel and Dr. Kurz. As you step out, there are a couple of little marble steps leading down to the plaza, which is inside the dome of the class, and there are people milling around. Dorian, as you get to the bottom of the step, you're not sure if somebody tripped you or if your foot just stuck to the pavement or you stepped on it wrong. But you go down, you fall. And when you fall, you twist and you land on your left arm. And it hurts like hell.
Spin around and help Dorian immediately.
Yeah, he calls out.
I just swear in Polish.
It's got that feeling like when you bang your elbow on something.
The sound of someone in pain is my siren. So I rush over to see if there's anything I can do to help Dorian.
Neruda, Roland, did one of you trip me up?
No, I didn't.
Dr. Edison, do a first aid roll.
We were behind him. Did we see something on the step?
You didn't.
Extreme success with a 0.8.
You realize that he has slightly popped his shoulder out of socket, and you very, very quickly and painfully, but quickly, you pop it back into joint.
What's your favorite color?
Which hurts, yeah, like hell. But it then softens after that. But it aches for the rest of the day.
Good thing you weren't planning on doing any climbing, Dorian. Oh, that sounded awful.
Oh man, what the? Wait, what is going? No, maybe I just no, I don't know. Maybe I just slipped, but it felt like I don't know. I thought someone tripped me.
Well, Dorian, you've spent an awful lot of time with the statue arm, haven't you?
Yes, I basically the owner of that arm, I guess. I keep an eye on it. Keep it close to me.
Just
I don't hold it in my sleep.
We'll put an ice pack on your shoulder tonight, and I believe I have something in my bag that I can give you later after dinner that should help you sleep and ease some of the pain. But just take care of your arm and be careful today.
Don't worry, it's not the first time, but that I've had a shoulder pop out.
All right. So let's start with Roland and Dr. Edison. Doctors Kurtz and Dr. Edison. You head over to the University of Milan. I assume you catch a cab, which takes you over there. It's a beautiful university, very old, older than United States universities. It's got a lot of charm to it. What would you like to do?
I'd like to see if the assumption is that they have a expansive library, and I want to see if the librarians, if there's any like students who could be available for research and just being a research assistant to us, if there's
kind of like you did
available.
in Paris,
kind of like we did in Paris, although more hands-on. We'll actually be with them today. I don't foresee this being an extended thing like we did in Paris, more of just like, hey, for a few hours could someone help us read and look at things and just kind of help guide us, since this is we're strangers in your town.
Okay. Go ahead and do a luck roll.
Oh God, do I have to do it?
Yeah.
Oh son of a biscuit. I thought, oh my God, awesome, because I saw the double ot. Oh, but then there's the third ot over there.
Why did you have to insult him like that?
Yes. I picked up the pie he was having for lunch and smashed it into his face.
No, you tried to say something nice in Italian, and what you actually said was, your mother's a whore pig.
Is that right? Is that right? Very good. Yes, very good.
You search around, you ask in the place, and they inform you that this is probably not going to be right, but they inform you that right now the students are in the middle of, I don't know, midterms or whatever would be going on in January, and that there's just nobody available to assist you. They try to assist you. What are you looking for?
I have a couple of variations of the name Jeanavre that we have seen with the different spellings. We believe there is someone purchased something from this estate and brought it to Milan.
Maybe cataloged as antiquities, or possibly spoils of war. We
can show you the section, but there's 500,000 volumes in this library, so I don't know if this helps.
It'd be around 1712, I believe. Let's roll up our shirt sleeves, Edison, and see what we can find.
Okay. So you realize. Why don't you go ahead and do a 1d4?
Uno.
Okay, that's good. After about an hour, you become frustrated. You're looking at this stuff and you think, well, these are just library books. These are things that, these aren't records of sales or anything like that. And they're not French or German or anything like that. They're all Italian stuff, and they don't seem to have anything to do with anything outside of this part of Italy. Mm-hmm. You think it's a dead end, or at least it's something that's too obscure for you you don't know what you're looking for.
In speaking with the librarian and kind of trying to vaguely talk about what, because we don't really have the information I think we need in order to have a more effective search parameter. But given the librarian the kind of vague parameters that we have, does the librarian have any suggestions on other places that we could do this type of research? Is this a city hall kind of thing? Is this a church records kind of thing? Any guidance on that?
They would suggest if you're going to find anything about that period and that place, you probably should go to the Bibliothèque Nationale de Paris in Paris. They wouldn't know why anything like that would even be in their records anywhere. And you also get kind of the impression that I'm a librarian, I'm busy, and I can give you a vague direction of which aisle to go down to get to a section that has stuff related to French chateaus, but finding it could take weeks, months. It might not be there at all.
Here, Doctor, I'm afraid that I may have sent us down a rabbit hole, a dead end rabbit hole.
We will pick up some excellent Milanese coffee and think about how we find who is buying strange effects in the early 18th century and bringing them into Milan.
Excellent suggestion.
Yeah.
Do an idea roll for me.
Just a regular.
Actually, I think I have an excellent idea. I have a hard idea.
Okay. Well, as you're sitting there and you're going over this, you look back over your previous notes. There's nothing that says anything about a sale. That, as you recall, Genovar's property was raided and the pieces were broken up and scattered. So there's no reason to believe there would be any record whatsoever of it.
Yeah, but previously this Raoul Malone was moving things. Some things.
I have to believe that these pieces, if each piece is as insidious and evil and corrupting as the arm that we found, then we should hopefully find evidence of strange occurrences, unexplained deaths, a weird phenomena that we might be able to trace and then find something at the heart of those instances that may be the simulacrum.
Yeah, well, this is
maybe that should be our next avenue of research, is something weird phenomena of some sort, local myth and legend, within the last century or two.
Well, this is why also Locke and Dobreski are looking at the Costumier's Curse at the Opera House.
Yes.
Maybe we'll go and find a Milanese coffee near the Opera House and meet up with them.
Good call.
Okay, we'll say too that on your way back, since the Opera House is just on the other side of the Galleria where you guys are, if you wanted to freshen up, but where you arrive next to the Duomo, the big church. It is a spectacular building.
Do you want to go just check out the Duomo, just kill some time before coffee?
We are also tourists as well as investigators, and we don't want to crowd the other two. So yes, let us see this.
Yeah, let's do it.
So there are people milling in and out, but they've kind of roped off an area so that if you're a tourist, you can kind of walk around the inside of the church without disturbing people who are actually there praying. And you do notice that there's quite a few people praying. Who's got the better Italian?
I have a little.
Okay, do an Italian roll. Not very good.
All right, I can spend to make it 19 points, which seems dear.
That's a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. So what you get is you do notice that a few people have little pictures of Caterina Cavallaro, and you maybe can pick up that name occasionally. So they're saying prayers for her recovery.
I'm pretty decent in Latin. Is there anything in Latin that's engraved or in stained glass or anything like that too?
Yeah, there's probably Latin all over the place.
Okay.
That's all Bible verses and the same names of saints and stuff like that. Nothing particular. The dome is huge. It's beautiful on the inside. Since you guys are sort of in the tourist little area, one of the priests notices you guys conversing back and forth to one another in English, and he comes up and introduces himself. Good morning. I'm Father Angelico. You're from, I think, England or maybe the United States?
Dr. York is, yes, American. I
English,
I'm
yes.
working there as well. English,
Ah.
sorry.
Oh, good. What would you like to know? I don't get very often to practice my English.
Oh, it is so very good. You speak like a natural. Thank you.
But let me show you around. And he proceeds to give you a little tour, talking about the age and the beauty and the icons and the stuff. But then after a bit, he begins to express a little bit of, I don't know, a little disgust at the Milanese people. He says they've just begun to give up, their devotion to God, and they seem to be devoting themselves to, musicians and singers as if they were truly important people. It's not right. Things should go back. People when they are not in distress are not very good Christians.
Yeah. Although also, many of the beautiful works are devoted to God. This beautiful structure is made in reverence. Maybe the most beautiful singers also, it is God's gift, is it not, that they are sharing with the world?
Well, perhaps if she wasn't such a whore, which he says in too many words. The woman's not a pious woman. Why would she be pious? She has her life handed to her with on gold and silver trays, and she's like the harlots of old, wealthy and popular, but not. We don't see her in church unless it's some sort of show.
Yes, well, she will have to stand before God at her time and atone and make amends for each of her sins. So,
and the conversation kind of goes in that way. And if he sees that you sort of have sympathy for this performer, then he kind of loses interest eventually in you.
Actually, part of Dr. York's belief is that each man must prove himself in the world so that he can stand tall before God and earn his place in the next world. So I feel like Dr. York is going to be ideology wise more aligned with the priest.
Well, you get the sentiment. So the priests like this probably think that it's much better when the plague is raging through Europe, because then everybody comes to church.
And I want to try and see if there's any, is he aware of any strange historical events in Milan that at different time periods, maybe even something as far back, it was at 17. What was the date? There were
1712 is, but also we have reason to think that the peace came here more recently.
Anything that's unusual that may be a tone to an act of the devil, or some kind of been mistaken as a miracle of some sort.
Do a psychology roll.
Oh, negative. There's no way. Yeah, no, too big of a margin.
It's hard reading somebody in another language as they're speaking, and I mean, he's trying to speak English. It's difficult to read mannerisms, but he doesn't have anything specific, but he says the Milanese people are all superstitious, and superstition is wrong and it should be done away with. But people spinning around on the mosaic in the Galleria as if they're going to get luck from stepping on the bull's ball. And people thinking that there are that luck is there's no such thing as luck. He would say it's people are not unlucky. People are just victims of circumstance, and people believe all sorts of nonsense, especially about that tonight is the grand opening of the opera, and he says, I'm a priest, but I do enjoy the music. I'm not speaking against the art that's created. It's beautiful, but it's the opening night is always a travesty.
Yeah, well, from what the paper said this morning, I am afraid you will be quite right, Father.
It's all just entertainers are just a ridiculously superstitious lot. Walk under a ladder and the world's going to end, or some stupid thing like that.
Did someone from the opera come to speak to you about the costumier's curse?
No, but I don't really know what that is, but I'm not surprised. They have curses here and curses there, and it's all a bunch of nonsense, And that's about all that he has to say.
All right. Genuflect, make an offering to the poor box.
Do a spot hidden as you're leaving. Do a spot hidden and a luck.
And a luck roll?
Yeah.
God, you hate me. Damn, missed the spot hidden by 2. I'm not going to spend the luck because I'm hugging single digits. And new 98 on the luck roll.
Okay. How do you
Bad
do?
spot hidden, good luck.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Bad spot hidden, good luck.
Okay. All right, so we'll do Dr. Roland first. Good luck. As you are moving towards the doors of the cathedral to leave, you notice 3 old women. They are dressed in black. They are all of them holding little pictures of Caterina Cavallaro and candles. And they are saying their prayers. Obviously desperate. That only seems odd because, I don't know, little old ladies praying for entertainers does seem a bit odd. People younger, people, who are more involved would be the ones who are doing most of that. And they're just there. You see them, but they seem kind of like a striking trio of women.
And they have photographs as if cut from a newspaper, or do they have little cards?
Little framed pictures. Little, probably not expensive, but little gold frames. They look like the same picture, all 3 of them.
Yeah, you see how York by the priest is jealous. There is a cult of personality around our friends from the train.
Yes, indeed.
And Dr. York, as you are stepping forward, the support of the church has these massive pillars that hold up the thing. And you're walking, one of them falls on you. No, not even if you roll the 000. Now, as you are walking by one, you notice a man. He's an elderly man. He seems to be leaned over, looking at something on the other side of the pillar. He's an old man, but he's immaculately dressed, in a very nice, what we would say an Armani suit. I don't know if it was Armani back then, but a very nice suit. But he seems preoccupied with something around the pillar on the ground. You're going to have to walk right by him. Okay.
Older, like a senior citizen?
You'd probably say mid-60s. He's very thin. He has a full head of hair, though, and a silver beard.
Okay.
Seems like he would be very dignified.
As I'm walking past, using Latin, I'll kind of softly speak and just gently touch and say, excuse me, sir, is there anything I can help you with? Are you all right?
when you say that in Latin and you sort of gently touch him, he uprights himself very suddenly, as if you startled him badly. And he's like, oh, like this. And when this happens, you don't know if something falls out of his suit or if he drops something that he was holding and you didn't see, but it's like a little jar. And the jar hits the ground and shatters. And he looks at you in surprise. And he says, oh, excuse me, like this. And he quickly turns and walks out, pulling himself up dignified and walking out with the glass shattered on the ground around you. You look down at the little jar that he had, and it seems to be filled with grubs.
Goodness.
A very strange thing to bring to a church, I would say. What was he looking at?
Yeah, look past the pillar. What was he looking at over there?
What comes around the base of the pillar, eagerly going after the grubs, is a very large-looking rat.
What?
It snuggles up some of the grubs and greedily eats them down. It looks up at you for a moment, but the second you move, it startles and it runs under some of the pews, and it's out of your look. It was a big rat.
Roland, did you see that?
So,
I think it was Gabriel's rat.
I hope there are not many this size running around the city in broad daylight, no less. Does this man come to feed a rat from a little jar? Why would he? Is there a hole for the rat to have come out of in the wall?
It's all marble around you. Except the pews are not marble, but
it didn't chew through that marble wall.
It scurried away, probably right under the legs of some of the parishioners that are praying.
Yeah, maybe we wait for a moment and listen for screaming.
Yeah, we'll see the wave of people going, oh, and kind of hopping up.
Nope, nobody seems to react, or maybe nobody notices. They're too busy praying.
If we step outside, maybe we'll see this man running away.
Yeah, let's see if we can find him.
All right, you step out, but by then there's too many people. You find it difficult to notice him in the crowd. All right, let's jump back then to let's do Neruda and Theo. Okay. You head on. You're going towards. You want to see the sewers.
Yeah.
All right. So you notice that there are small grates that lead down to the sewers, which is where water in the streets would probably flow.
Okay.
You see a few of those down that alley as well, but you don't see anything in particular that would allow a rat that size to get in and out. Do a 1d4 roll again.
A 1d4 roll?
Yeah.
This isn't applied with my tracking or anything, is it?
No, just a 1d4.
Where the heck's my 1d4? Dirty, rotten 1d4. All right, hang on. Okay, I'm going to do a 1d6 and re-roll a 5 and 6. A 1.
Okay. So you, for about an hour, you look around, you're trying to figure this whole thing out. You finally start asking questions. And after an hour, you're informed by somebody that the sewer system in Milan is the old Roman sewer system. And it's not very large. You would have to crawl through the sewer system. If you mention the whole Phantom of the Opera, you get some laughs. It's like, no, if there's some gigantic cavern or secret place down there, that people would know about it. It's a nightmare of small tunnels and aqueducts and things underneath there. So that doesn't seem like that there would be anything like that. But big rats, not normally. And there are rats everywhere in the world. But what you're describing doesn't sound like a rat at all. It sounds like a cat or maybe an ugly cat.
It's not that long since it's been spotted. Could I try to track it at all? Or
it's cobblestone, so there's no place you'd see footprints or anything like that.
While we're out looking, going to that place on the other side of the wall, what actually is there? Is it cafes? Is it residences?
You realize that the shape of the Galleria is basically an arch dome with a glass roof on it. So as you're coming towards the end, you're on a long part, but you're in an alley going this way. That wall corresponds more or less to the side of the Galleria. So for some reason that was bricked off. Maybe there were traffic problems of people walking in and out. Maybe there was some other reason. They're not all blocked off like that, but it is just more buildings, residences, shops, just like you'd expect in a street. The Galleria itself is the way it is because somebody at some point wanted a covered place to go shopping, but not a building. It's just covering over the top. So you don't find any, you find restaurants, you find little shops, things like that.
But is there any, and there's, I don't know, not that we can get down in the sewers, but are there any like grates or anything where such a large rodent could appear on the street?
I mean, at first glance, you would say no, but then again, rats have been known to squeeze themselves into little holes and things like that. So maybe
their skull through it. Then,
it could have just been a rat. It was so big, though.
It's a big rat.
As you are in that alley and as you are looking around, you suddenly start to hear some noise. And the noise, it sounds like a crowd of people. It gets louder as you're in there, and the sound begins to echo. And walking by at the end of the alley on that street over there, going by, at first you think, is it some kind of little parade? Because there are people with signs and banners, and they are chanting something in Italian, something about unionizing the Alfa Romero plant, and it's a protest, and they're saying something about a name that seems a little familiar to you. What's the name? It sounds like Ennio Spinoza, which was the name you read in the newspaper, the guy who was murdered. It's becoming a protest.
And the with my basic conversational Italian, I can hear that they're upset about his murder.
Yeah, they're quite upset. They think that the anti-union people murdered him because he was outspoken against in favor of unionizing at the plant. So it's given them impetus to become a little bit more aggressive, which very soon as they're going by, you begin to hear police whistles. You imagine that black shirts are on the way to start beating them down, and this could be a dangerous place to get caught.
We're foreigners. Yes, we don't want to loiter.
But it's the Alfa Romero plant. How expensive are Alfa Romeros?
I think it's a fairly expensive car.
And Catalina was last seen. I mean, somebody with an Alfa Romero. I wonder. I mean, the owners of these plants, of the Alfa Romero plant, I'm sure might be able to have large enough connections to the opera, or at least,
yeah, patrons of the opera would be wealthy.
I wonder if it's worth, not now, given that the getting seen in association with them when we have more work to do in Italy will not put us in the good graces of the powers that be, make our lives incredibly difficult. But if we could just look after they're scattered and broken up, I wonder if we can find one of these protesters and talk to them.
I like that. After the authorities. Yeah.
Okay. So are you going to stick around in the alley while this is going on?
No.
Is there like a little bay?
I don't want to be so close.
We could
Or if we duck
looking-
into a cafe and look.
You duck into a cafe or a shop.
Oh yeah, we could get a nice, fine Italian suit, nicely.
Because that underscores the situation where a bunch of tourists are like, let's do some consumerism while the unionizing workers get beat up outside. That makes me feel good.
Is that your ploy? Do you want to go in and get fitted for a suit?
Sure. Actually, I've got a decent spending level with me usually, so.
Okay. So that's a good ploy. Let's say there's a little tailor shop. You go in there. It's a very sophisticated shop. So when you walk in, you get some raised eyebrows because it's like, oh, what are you wearing? You know,
Well, I should be wearing actually a very nice suit, though.
Yeah, it's probably an American suit though, which is, you know, barely acceptable. You quickly find out that the price of a suit would be quite expensive. They could do a fitting. They will charge you for the fitting quite a lot, and the suit won't be ready for a few weeks. They've got backlogs, so this will be the best suit you've ever owned. So whether you want to go to that kind of trip, you don't expect to be here in 2 weeks.
Well, could I have it shipped?
Yes, you could have it shipped.
I would actually like it. I think this would be fine. I need to add a nice Italian suit to my collection.
You gonna stay there with him, Dr. Neruda? It'll take probably about an hour for them.
No, so while Theodore's doing that, I mean, I want to go looking for, again, after when I see that the protest has been broken up, I'm going to go see if I can find one of the protesters.
Okay.
And talk to them.
So you managed to get one of the protesters who's not bleeding to death. He's got some scrapes and bruises, and he's come down the alley to sort of hide as the protest is going on. He says, "Please, my friend, could you hide me or keep me away? They'll know that, you know, I'm one of them, because obviously I've been my shirt is ripped."
Well, I'll actually let him wear my cardigan sweater thing here as we sit at this cafe.
Oh yes. Now I look just like a tourist. Oh, where are you from?
Me, I'm from Argentina.
Ah, I thought you had a slight accent. Yes. Do you know what's going on in our town?
I've heard something of your troubles.
Yes, one of our comrades, one of our union comrades, Ennio Spinola. He was murdered, we believe. The police won't release the body, which is just terrible. I mean, he's got a wife and children. They want to bury the body, but the police won't. I don't know what the fascists have done with it.
This is why it's in my opinion that, you know, all such police institutions should be abolished.
Well, we need to get paid properly. They use us almost as slave labor at the plant. And I mean, I knew him, so he was a co-worker. Such a shame. They
Yes.
stabbed him in the back.
Literally, I assume, as you said murdered.
Yes, they found his body in the alleyway by the factory. I don't know why he was there, but he might not have been there to begin with. Somebody grabbed him and murdered him.
Do you believe that it is the police or the factory, the capitalists?
I believe it's the non-union. It's probably the head of the factory or someone like that. Or if it wasn't, I don't think that they would dirty their hands directly, but they would hire somebody to do it. They're trying to frighten us away, but we're not going to be frightened by this.
That's comforting, comrade. One should not let them
brutalize us we want them to find the person responsible and bring them to justice. That's all we want.
Now, if you don't mind, who are some of these parties that would be interested in union busting, whether they be the head of the fascist police, whether it be the owners of factories? Do you have any names? Like the people in my anarchist publication back in Argentina that I write for would be quite interested. In hearing of your story.
And he gives you a list of names, none of which mean anything to you, but
still write them down.
Yeah, you've got them all written down. And he says, yes, they're probably one of them, or they're all responsible, really. We just want what's fair for us. By now, Theodore probably comes out and finds you. It's a shame. I need to get back now. I have a family as well. We all have families. It's our families we're caring about in this. Thank you. And he gives you back your.
Yeah. And so, and if I was interested in learning about, the capitalists who buy such absurdly expensive cars that you are exploited in order to make, who could I get that sales list from?
They're all like it's like a boys club. They've got money. They all hang out together. They support one another and they exploit all of us. He gives you more names, but nothing in particular. I mean,
nobody, like no names of the people that were at that party, like the opening opera party. I guess we don't. Or okay.
Yeah, nobody you recognize, right?
Okay, but at least we have it. So when we do start if we come across the name, we might be able
those rich people are all in league together in some sort of evil squish the common man, then take over the world venture.
Yes, but that is why we as a proletariat must unite against them. Thank you, comrade. I'm glad I could help you.
And he dismisses himself. Yeah, goes away. Right. Let's jump over then to Dorian and Gunter. You go to the opera. The opera is the doors in the front are closed, of course. The booth selling tickets is still open, and you can see that there's quite a lot of activity going on through those glass doors in the theater. They have rolled out a red carpet in the front. They've brought in potted plants to place around the front, so it's a gala tonight. You know, they've got red velvet ropes and things like that. And there is a lot of activity going on behind the building.
Oh,
Well, Gunther, maybe we should start behind.
why not? Why not see what kind of materials they're bringing in and out?
And if people ask, we say we're here to see the prop set designers in correlation to the disappearance.
Yes. I mean, we could just say we're from the Arcane Society investigating, here to debunk curses.
That is true. That's a perfectly valid one.
The best lies have kernels of truth in them.
Exactly.
Okay. So you head around back, and there are people coming and going. Some of them look like they are possibly actors or people in the opera. A lot of them are in work clothes. You can hear hammering going on inside the building. You can hear things being moved around, but there is a single door, and sitting next to the door is a gentleman behind a table, and he is just checking to make sure who's going in and who's going out.
Okay. So are they? Is there an area where we could talk to some of the people carrying the stuff in and out away from that door checkers vision?
Yeah, I mean, you can see people coming in and going out, moving. Mostly, it looks like hardware and pieces of wood and things like that. However, they look very busy.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther, we could just take a direct approach and speak to the watcher here.
But let's do it. I will have to. I don't speak Italian, so I'll just have to follow your lead.
Yeah, well, anything you want to say, I can translate over. So if if I'm not doing so good, you can tell me what I should, and I can translate.
Of course.
So there is a very small line of a few people going in. When you get up to this man, he looks up at you and he says, "So where's your tag? Who are you?"
Sorry, we do not actually have a tag. I am Dr. Dorian Dabrowski, and this is Gunther Block. We are
doctor. Yeah. Okay. Did somebody call for a doctor? Is
not that kind of doctor.
I think Selena told me this morning that she was not feeling well.
Not feeling well. I have some minor medical knowledge. I'm not that kind of doctor, but I can.
I don't understand. Who are you? Why are you here? Who are you? And he looks over at Gunter.
We are from the Arcane Society of America. We're here to write an article, and of course, being translated through Dorian.
Oh, you're with the press. Where's your press? Where's your press badges?
I wouldn't say we're I wouldn't say we are press, but
I don't have a time for this. We've got too much to do today. Go inside. Go inside.
Okay, thank you. Do you know where Visconti is currently?
He's beyond the main stage, getting things ready.
Thank you.
All right.
That was simpler.
You step inside, and Dorian, as you step inside and you're looking around, this backstage area is like a surreal nightmare. There are bizarre giant paper mache sculptures, and there are what looks like a sphinx, and there are wagon wheels, and there are 1,000 things that you could trip, fall, and hurt yourself on. And add to that dozens of people carrying these things, going back and forth and putting things in place. And it's definitely dangerous. It's also a maze. Knowing where to go is not obvious. Hallways are 3 feet wide with people going up and down them and carrying stuff. And you can see that it goes up at least 150 feet with scaffolding and people walking around getting things ready. So you step inside. Do a luck roll.
Okay, let's see. That is a fail.
Okay. So I'll give you the same thing, a 1d4.
Okay. That is a 3.
A 3. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
So you are walking around, and just when you sort of think that you are getting somewhere and heading somewhere, you have the realization that you are stepping through a door. You're coming through the door, and you are on the second balcony up above. You can see the stage. There it is down there. There's people walking around setting up some sort of elaborate Egyptian style, set and all that with the curtains open. But you thought that you would be at stage level, and you're two levels above that. So somehow you've gotten twisted around, turned around.
Gunther?
Yeah.
And you're going to wander around for a good 3 hours before you finally find, that's a little exaggerated, but you wander around for about 3 hours before you finally, somebody, you're asking somebody, and they say, Paolo is right over there. And he points to who should be Paolo Risconti. And you see a guy with a thing in his hand, and he's writing on it, and he's telling people, they'll move that there, move that there, that's got to go there. So go ahead. You finally found him after wandering about.
That took far too long, Gunther. I get the feeling that we are not safe here. Have you seen how dangerous it is here? Anyway.
Yeah, what a mess.
I go up to Paolo. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Who are you?
I am Dr. Dorian Dabrowski, and this is Gunther Block.
Doctor, Celia said that she was not feeling good this morning.
Just let me finish, please. I can see to her. I only have some minor medical, but we're actually with the Arcane Society. We are here to look into this costumer's curse. We've heard about it.
What? Oh, you saw in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yes, it piqued our interest, and we are mutually.
Are you're with the press? You want to do another article?
Yes.
Nobody ever talks. Nobody ever asks the people working here. They want to talk to Toscanini. Toscanini is a phenomenal man, but they don't quite have the same insight as people who work here day in and day out. Toscanini goes home at night, and he enjoys
the backstage are the backstage crew are the unsung heroes. The behind the scenes, you are.
Thank you. Yes, we are. This is our opera that we're putting on.
Exactly, and I can also look at your friend who you said was ill if you require. I know some basic medical.
Good. But before that, you want to talk to me. You want to ask me. I am going on a coffee break. And he yells,
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you.
"Come, follow me." And he takes you over, not off the stage, but over to the side. And he snaps his fingers, and they bring him and you some coffee. Now, what do you want to know?
Oh, well, go ahead and I will translate.
First off, we'd like a little history on this this curse. When did it first occur? And does it come in waves? Get worse near opening night, or is it more of just a consistent?
Well, I think the first hint that we thought there was something wrong about 6 or 7 years ago, and it seemed to be that the ladies that do our costuming, they're all the way up on the top floor in the kind of in the backstage back corner. We had a very large turnaround. A lot of them, one after the other would get sick. They'd have to be replaced. It just a great deal of bad luck, to the point where we kind of made up that it was a curse. It's only now that we are approaching that, and we've had many operas in the last 6 years. He says, but it seems that only now that we are preparing for Aida, that the curse seems to have lifted, at least off of that area, and now Caterina Cavallaro disappears.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so we begin to wonder if we've had some accidents and things like that, if the curse is moving down here to the stage area. It's very strange, but
Yes.
the ladies that work upstairs, it's been very bad for them.
I can imagine, especially going through a big turnaround, because there's a lot of pressure on you backstage.
Well, it's
be
not.
honest.
You see that it's a bit of a maze. It's difficult to get around.
Oh, yes.
The-
Yes, it is indeed.
The area up there, it's hot. It's where all the heat goes. So it's a hot room. It's full of cloth and sewing machines and costumes, and they work there, and it's very hard for them.
I can imagine.
And what type of symptoms were they experiencing?
I think that 2 that left us in the past few years died of tuberculosis. Consumption, I guess I'd call it. They seem to have. They seem to pass around the same sort of cold all the time. They're always coughing and wheezing. But now their health seems to be improving.
That is interesting. But just away from the curse briefly, what is your opinions on Toscanini and Cavallaro?
Toscanini is one of the greatest directors of all time, and Cavallaro, my God, what a beautiful voice.
She does indeed. But Toscanini off the record. This is off the record. Anything about anything?
Well, he's a director, so he's got his own. He likes. Obviously, he's a director. He wants things done his way. We try to accommodate that. It's not a problem at all. But he's a phenomenal man, very talented, very, has great insights into music. I once. I heard a story about him one time that just before a major concert, he was approached by the bassoon player in the orchestra, and he told Toscanini, I have this terrible problem. The A flat button on my bassoon is no longer working. It's broken. And Toscanini closed his eyes, looked up into the air for a moment, and he said, "It's okay. You don't play that note during this concert."
Oh.
He had memorized every note of every player of every instrument, and he knew that he wouldn't have a problem because he would not play. That's the kind of genius he is.
That is a master of his craft.
Wow.
This kind of, you say, this, was it Selena? Was it Selena? Or?
Oh, yes. One of the, I think that she's a supernumerary, but I think, maybe not. Maybe she has a minor singing role. I don't know exactly where she'd be at the moment, probably down in the, doing a little bit of rehearsal downstairs. If you go all the way to the basement, that's where the just my brain just went dead. Where all of the rooms with the stars and the opera singers and stuff they're preparing.
Right.
I'm sure she's down there somewhere.
Do you know? Oh, well, we will discuss this after because I'm sure my Gunther here has a few more questions for you. But do you have can you point us in the right direction? Because it is a maze around here. But,
he takes you over to the wall and he says, "It's very simple." And he points to a blueprint that's been pinned to the wall. It's in Italian, but you can read it in English.
Yeah.
And he basically says, yes, you go down this stairway and across there and down here, and you'll find the stairs there, and you go down this. And it's like, oh my God, it is a maze of buildings. But he shows you where the dressing rooms are.
Thank you. This doesn't look complicated to navigate at all, but thank you. Before we continue, Block, do you have any more questions for?
So you said that recently there's been more injuries, or would you say that the injuries were occurring slowly, moving down from the upper floor?
I don't know. Maybe it's a silly superstition. We're all very superstitious.
Oh, I understand that.
We do understand that.
I work on the stage also, so I.
Then you know what it's like.
Oh yes.
You know the two words that you should never, ever, ever say to anyone in this place.
I do. That's why I won't say them.
Yes, don't say them. Good. Well, I have to get back to my work.
I understand.
Tonight is going to be it's going to be ruined.
Oh, you think?
Ruined?
Well, it's always the first night. The first night is always the best night to see the opera is the second night.
That is very true.
And I have tickets for tonight. Oh.
But Gunther, you should know.
Where are you sitting?
Third row center.
Oh, very nice seats. Very nice. You should be able to see everything from there.
I hope so.
Yes, I hope.
Excellent.
It will be interesting.
So, is that what you want to do? You're going to go down to the basement?
Yes. I might only have some medical, but I want to go.
All right. Well, we'll do this kind of quickly. So you go down to the basement. It is indeed the same sort of maze, rickety stairs, things like that going down. Once you're down there, there are a series of fairly large, long rooms that are all mirrored on one side, and there are little desks there with makeup and costumes hung on the walls, and there are people who they're not exactly getting ready for the opera yet because it's not until tonight.
Yes.
But they're going through their things, they're looking at their music and so forth. A few of them are somewhat scantily dressed because it's kind of hot down here. But nobody pays any attention.
And it's
You walk
Italy.
through, yeah, it's like they're actors and actresses and singers and so forth. So you eventually find Selina Furlan, is her name, and I mean, what can you do? You do first aid or medical, whichever you've got.
Yes, I just want to ask how she's feeling and if I can, what is wrong, and then
She seems to
check
have a
out.
bit of a chest cold.
Okay, that's normal-ish.
Yeah, I mean, she says
I got an 11, which succeeds my medicine and first aid. So.
she seems to have a little bit of trouble catching her breath, she says, when she's going up the stairs. Just in general, kind of, she thinks it's chest congestion. She's probably catching cold or something like that.
Yeah,
She's been drinking warm tea with honey and lemon for her voice, but
that's all I just. This is all I can really tell you. I would say take it easy for tonight.
Were you
there's
were you
all
practicing
of us.
mostly down? Were you practicing mostly down here or in another part of the theater?
Mostly down here for now.
Okay.
We'll do a run through later on this afternoon before the opera begins. There suddenly is a commotion coming from the next room over. By the way, these are all ladies in here. There's noise coming from the room next door, and the room or the door flies open, and a rather large, fat man, followed very quickly by a very small, short man. He comes through in a very sort of blustering way, and he says, "I don't care what you have to say. We need to. If he's not going to sing, then we need to find someone. How can we?" He's just going on and on and on. And as he walks by you, he suddenly looks at you, Gunter, and his eyes go up, and he says, "Who are you?"
I am Gunter Block. We are here to check on Selina. She was.
No, I don't care about that. Let me have a look at you.
Oh.
And he grabs you by the shoulders and he sort of spins you around. And he says, yes, you might work. You might work very well.
For what, good sir?
And he turns to his assistant, which he calls Turkey in Italian. And Turkey says, have you ever been on stage before?
Oh, yes, often.
And he's like, Signor Juan Bautista, to something or other. He needs somebody to be a supernumerary. He thinks you're, and he suddenly gets interrupted by the big fat man. And he says, "You're taking too long to tell him. I need you to be a soldier on the stage during the opening sequence when the whole opening scene where I'm about to go into the battle, and you will simply be on the stage with the others, filling a place. You don't need to sing. You just need to stand there. That's it."
Sounds energizing. Of course.
It's done. He snaps his fingers, and as he walks away, his little assistant comes over and he gets your information and tells you that you need to be here at 6 p.m. to get ready for the 8 o'clock opera.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You can go up to the costumiers and make sure that it fits, but he's pretty sure your size, it'll fit just fine.
Perfect. Oh, Already got a job, Dorian. Look at that.
Gunther, what the? Maybe I should see if they need a cellist.
What a better way to get a closer look at what goes on than to be on stage.
Yes,
So you can't really recommend anything for Selena, except that she does look like she's got a cold.
I would just take it easy and rest until the evening. Don't
Just to clarify that too, not so much a nose snotty cold. It's more of a chest cold.
chest.
Okay.
Right. What would you like to do next?
I need to go get fitted for my costume.
I think you do, and I think I wonder if me being here with you, I could maybe be your backstage assistant, and I can be backstage throughout the event. It might be.
Why not? They let us back here already.
I can.
Now that I'm supposed to be here.
The little
know.
guy comes back out of the crowd after he left. He thought that you wouldn't see him again, but he comes back very quickly and he hands you a tag.
Oh, thank you. But,
And then he walks away.
Yes.
Hi.
So you wanted to go to the costume
shop, and yep.
I will follow.
Okay. So once again, up the stairs, around the side, up towards the back corner. If you were looking at the stage, if you were in the theater looking at the stage, it would be the top left-hand corner of the building, all the way in the top, as far up as you can go. It's actually the easiest room to find because you just keep going in that direction and eventually you get there. The Costumiers is a tight, very not cluttered, very well organized, but it's costumes and rows of them, and they're all these elaborate, extensively beautiful. There's rows of cloth. There's places where there's all kinds of bits and baubles and things that they can sew on to things. And there are, just as you're getting there, at first when you walk in, there's nobody there. There's one young woman that's there, and she does not speak any English at all. So Dorian will have to help. She explains that the other seamstresses went to church and they should be back shortly. She shows you around a little bit. Do a spot hidden. Now, both of you can do a spot hidden, though.
Come on. Fail.
Regular success.
Okay, regular success. One thing that you do notice is that there's a back door to this room, but it's slightly open, and it's open to a fire escape. So it's actually the outside of the building. And it's 3 stories or four stories above the ground below.
Interesting.
Safety.
It doesn't create much of a breeze, and it's not open very much. It's just, open about like that. I'm gonna do a luck to see if she notices. She does notice you noticing that, and she says, it's broken.
Broken?
Yeah, the lock is broken on it. It won't close all the way. We're supposed to get it fixed, but that is the least thing that they're worried about right now.
That is true. How long has it been broken? If you don't mind, I know it's a small thing, but
I don't know. I'm brand new working
you're
here.
brand new? What is your name?
Her name is Maretta Sposito.
Oh, beautiful name. Beautiful name.
About that time, the other 3 ladies come up and join you. They are little old ladies. They are dressed oddly all in black. They have little photographs of Caterina Cavallaro with them, which as they move in, they don't they give you funny looks, just like why are there two men in the costumiers? And they look at the young girl, and you can see there's this almost psychic exchange between them. Like, are you inviting men up here into our sanctuary while we're praying? You know, that very disapproving sort of look. But they settle into where their sewing machines are, and they put their little, you know, Catarina Cavallaro icons sitting there on their desk. And one of them turns to the woman, Moretta, and says, like, Moretta, stop wasting time. Get back to work. We've got a lot of work to do. And she turns to you and says, excuse me.
It is okay. Thank you for your assistance, Arthur. It was nice to meet you. Lovely to meet you.
Show my tag so what costume I'm supposed to get.
One of the little old ladies looks at your tag, and she has to kind of, you can tell she's been doing this a while, but her eyes are getting strained. So she looks at your tag. She looks up at you, and she doesn't say a word to you, but she stands up. She goes over and she pulls out a soldier's uniform, an Egyptian soldier's uniform. Mm-hmm. And she has you put it on. And she expects you to strip, take off your pants, take off your shirt, whatever. She puts you in the costume. She does some pinning. And after a couple of seconds, unceremoniously, she's just like, all right, take it back off. And off it comes. She points for you to put your pants back on. And then shushes you out of the room.
Well, Gunther.
Do you in the process of this say anything, Dorian?
Yes, I would say something to them, but I'm trying to. I would want to bring up the curse, but I don't know how to word it in a way to make them like, oh, go away.
All right.
I'm just going to discreetly bring up the curse to them. I might flatter them with some nice Italian linguistic.
The second you say anything about the curse, they gasp. They look at you. They cross themselves.
Sorry, I did not mean to offend.
And they don't talk. They're not talking anyway, but they go back to their work. Like, don't bring that evil back into this room.
Well, Gunther, at least we know it strikes a nerve.
Yeah. Sounds like it's not here anymore, though. It's been moved.
I know she is new, but I'm gonna go over to Moretta and see if she's heard anything.
Okay, if you go over to Moretta and start to talk to her, one of the old ladies. Okay, well, one of the old ladies immediately says, she says to you in Italian, he says, "You need to leave, young man. We have work to do, and she's new and she doesn't know anything." And so,
okay, I will be respectful. Thank you for your time, and thank you for fitting my friend. I do apologize for bringing that into this place.
Go.
I am like walking back and saying, I don't want to get the wrath of an Italian woman.
So by now you've got kind of the hang of the building. You've gotten more familiar with it. You think you know what you're doing. Do you leave? That was not meant to sound creepy. I'm just. Do you all get back together again at the hotel?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's probably still mostly morning. You know, probably 11 o'clock. We'll say when you get back together. Was there anything else you guys wanted to do when you were out before you reconcur?
No.
I think we have to report to each other about our successes and failures.
Okay. And once again, the gallery is kind of right there in the middle. So, yeah, you all end up back there for early lunch.
Yeah. Also, Dr. York and I have had so many coffees together that it's important to repair to the hotel room before lunch. It's a lot of coffee.
A lot of coffee.
Yeah.
All right.
So we, if anyone at the university knows anything about purchasing anything, we don't know where to look. That's a frustrating morning for us, somewhat.
It is into it is sad, I guess. But development.
I got a
We
part
did
in the
have a-
opera.
Yeah, we had
Yes.
an interesting encounter at the Dormo.
Oh,
Gabriel, I think we saw your rat.
Oh, did you? We failed to find any trace of it.
Some strange elderly gentleman was, I think, seeking it out to feed it. He had a jar of maggots, and I must have startled him. And he dropped the jar. The maggots spilled out. He ran away, and that rat came out, gobbled up some maggots, and then scurried away before we could. I mean, it was so startling and so sudden. We certainly weren't expecting it inside the church of all places. So that was quite unusual. We lost sight of him.
We lost sight of both. And the gentleman in question was, I would think you will agree, Dr. York, that he looked as if he had means.
Yes.
He was not a street person who feeds rats. He was
he
gentleman.
Didn't come across as some kind of rat catcher.
Interesting. Well, Theodore and myself encountered a group of protesters who were protesting the murder of the union organizer Spinoza. And I spoke with one of them and have a long list of names in case we come across any of these affluent people associated with the Alfa Romero company. I'm sure whoever Catalina got in the car with is somewhere one of these names, but we don't have enough to link anything out just yet.
Given how friendly she was to us on the train, who knows how many people with money she is friendly with and would be delighted to see. But the fellow at the church with the jar full of rat grubs could very well be driving around an Alfa Romeo.
Gunther has a role in the opera, and
So
I will accompany
he wasn't kidding
him
about
backstage.
this? I thought that was a joke.
No, he's got a role, and I will accompany him backstage.
Don't tell me you're replacing Miss Cavallaro.
oh, no.
This would be a magic trick.
No, just a background soldier.
So, and we found out a bit more about the costumier's curse. Do not mention it up to the women in the costumiers, because they all tell you to basically go away.
These three older women, they were out praying, and they had icons of Catalina.
Oh, yeah, the widows. There were 3 widows that we saw at the Duomo. In black weeds, yes?
Yes.
Little gold framed.
Yeah.
And there was a young, very beautiful woman up there as well. And one of the performers came down with a chesty cough, cold, whatever. I assume it just turned to a cold. I told her to take it easy and continue what she was doing. But
perhaps Herr York will give a more thorough examination if we have the opportunity.
And the curse has apparently been going for 6-7 years, Gunther?
Yep.
But it then just vanished from up in the costumiers, and they believe it has moved on and is,
Well,
taking its hold on the theater.
I think Roland's theory about somebody hiding a Sedefkar piece in that, you described it as pretty labyrinth-like.
Yeah.
Seems like a perfect place to end. And 6 years ago, I mean, the note from Smythe said that there was a piece sold to somebody in Milan around the time of the Great War.
Sure.
So that 6 years ago, perhaps that is where it's wound up and it's moved.
And
maybe it was plaguing the ladies in that room because that's where it occupied. But now with this new production, they've moved it for some purpose. Somebody's moved it, knowingly or otherwise.
That is true. And me and Block seemingly know the way now after being lost for 3 hours and then being shown a map, and we know our way around ish. Dwyer is going to accompany him backstage while he was performing, and then we have a view backstage while the 4 of you are watching. I guess.
Is there? I'm trying to think. In Aida, are statues prominent in productions that I would be familiar with?
The statues of Ramses and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's all set in Egypt. But the statues are usually huge.
Also, the way the piece that we found in Lausanne had infiltrated that space so thoroughly with the strange growth and things. I wonder if it not. Perhaps the pieces behave differently based on their natures, though.
Possibly. I feel like me and Gunther, and if someone else wants to accompany, we need to have a little snoop backstage. If we believe that it is in the building, which it must be.
Hopefully. Yeah, it's worth
but
it.
The costumiers just won't speak about it. So.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good spot to end it, and you guys can pick up here with your conversation next week. Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, David Gassaway, Stuart Lively, Keith Craig, Josh Harwood, and John Hook, with yours truly as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows, free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.